If you've bought a Powerwall 3, you might be wondering, how does a mobile phone app work? How do I set up off-peak time of use tariffs? How do I get the most out of storm watch? How do I go off-grid? And what do all the graphs mean? Well, in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down all the things you need to know about the Tesla mobile phone app so you can get the most out of your Powerwall 3. Let's go. Okay, so let me walk you through the Powerwall mobile phone app itself. So hopefully you'll be able to see the graphic up on screen here. So first of all, you'll be able to see on that home screen display there, currently generating 0.7 kilowatt worth of solar generation, 0.5 of which is being set into the Powerwall 3 battery storage and 0.2 of a kilowatt mating the home demand. Now what you'll notice if a load is turned on inside the home, Powerwall, essentially that flow graph will essentially flow into the home. That infographic may well change at your home depending on your solar setup. So if you've got two Powerwalls or a Powerwall and an expansion pack, it will show as Powerwall times 2, indicating you've got 2 of them on, or 3 if you've got a couple of expansion packs, so on and so forth. What you'll also notice there, if you've got the wall connector, the infographic will also change and it will show your actual car plugged in if you've got a Tesla. Something to notice, if you have a Tesla car, if you just swipe across within the app, you will also be able to see your Tesla car information. It is all within the same Tesla mobile phone application. So that's the Tesla graphic that's at the top of the screen. If we just scroll down there, you'll see the first available setting there. And actually, I'm going to go through tariffs and stuff in a second, so stick with me. The first section you'll be able to see on that page is going off-grid. Now, this is typically speaking used quite rarely. Normally, if your friends come over, you want to show them that you've gone off-grid and you're not using your supply cable, that's when you'd tend to use that. Now, I'm not locally paired with the actual Powerwall. I'm away from the Powerwall as it presently stands, but if you're locally connected, you can automatically push your Powerwall off-grid. This will disconnect your incoming supply and you can use the power from your battery storage or solar and not pay a dime to the national grid. Some people like to do this for days on end, but my suggestion would be just do this if you wanted to test it. Essentially, let's say you had an up-and-coming known outage, you could just make sure you test it when it's going off-grid to make sure it's working, ready ahead of the event, for example, or this is where essentially you just got your mates around and you just want to show off, which is what I used to do. We've then got the one below, we've got the energy graph. So if we just go right the way to the bottom of this graph here, you'll see there's the home button. Now, something to note when you're actually on the app, you're able to swipe across. You'll see there yesterday, 21.1 kilowatt hours used because the EV car charger went on charge. But if we swipe back over today, you'll see as there is a demand in the home, this then peaks up, and as that demand subsides, it then drops back down again. So you'll also be able to see where this energy has been consumed from. So you'll see in this scenario here, we've got 36% from your Powerwall 3, 44% direct from solar, which is the most efficient way of doing it, and 20% in from the grid. Again, if we go to the next icon along, you'll be able to see the activity of the Powerwall. So you'll be able to see there that the Powerwall 3 actually charged up from the grid overnight, leveraging an off-peak rate, and then the Powerwall has effectively then met the discharge in the morning and charged up a little bit from solar throughout the course of the day there. If you scroll down a little bit, you can see where it's charged and where it's using it from and the current state of charge level. Now, if you want to look at this over a period of time, in the top right-hand corner, you can select between day, month, year, lifetime, or choose some custom dates there as well. So there is a bit of selection. If you want to see what it's doing over the course of a month, you can grasp that information from there. Next icon along is solar generation. So we can see there the ebbs and flow of solar generation. So if I just swipe across here to yesterday's generation, you can see there in the middle of the day it's a nice peak, and this is a good indicator to make sure your solar's working right, and then it drifts off towards the end of the day, and there's ebbs and flows then throughout the course of the day and where ultimately that solar generation have gone. So if you've got solar panels, you can maximize where your solar generation is going to. The next icon along we've got there is the grid. So you'll see there, as I mentioned earlier on, overnight on our off-peak tariff, which is an EV tariff here, essentially you can see there that Powerwall has automatically imported the power from the grid. That's because it dynamically makes an assessment based upon a weather forecast, the typical expected amount of generation from solar panels, current state of the battery as well, and essentially will work out how much to charge over at night to maximize the longevity of your Powerwall 3. Just above the day usage in the top right hand corner, you'll see 3 dots. By pressing those 3 dots, you can download data. Most people often won't be too concerned in terms of downloading data for solar, unless of course you're doing like return on investment payback calculator, again showing your mates how much you've generated or what your Powerwall's done. Most of the time I find that's very useful for things like downloading EV car charging information for submitting things like expenses at work. So the next one down, we've then got our impact. I'll be honest, I don't use this too often, but I just wanted to explain what it is and how it works. Effectively, you'll see there we've got the year in the top right-hand corner. This has basically given us an overarching view of what's happened over the course of the year. So 20% has come from solar. We're very early on in the season. 36% from the Powerwall, the time of use, so what you've used in peak, and then what's gone in off-peak, so showing you the difference in the usages between the two, how much you've essentially spent and or saved, and then effectively showing you a bit more about your offset solar information. The bit about this page that I really like is it tells you when you're home, if your home has gone into backup. So if you've been fast asleep at night and you think you've had a power cut because your clock's flashing 0 on your ovens, but that's the only indicating sign, then this will tell you how long your last power cut was out for. So if you're getting regular ones throughout the course of the day, you may wish to kind of force charge your battery storage up when you're on grid, essentially going into a state there. So 32 minutes on the 26th of March was when this Powerwall 3 went off grid for and was able to provide house backup. Next one down, we've got settings. This is where most people are going to want it. These are the juicy nuggets that people want to hear about. First of all, at the top there, if I'm just going to skip past quickly adding your utility account, because I've already done this in here, but this is where we would add in the information about off-peak night rates. I'm going to show you that in just a second. But first of all, if we have a look at our Powerwall settings, this is where we're going to set a state of backup reserve level. So for example, in this scenario, we just got it on full savings pretty much. We're not too concerned of having a backup reserve. We don't really have too many power cuts. And if we do, it's normally, say, if there's storms and things along those lines. If you've seen, we've had 1 power cut since we've had it installed. So we're in a position whereby effectively we're not too concerned about backup. But if you get regular power cuts, there's then a recommended position, essentially at 20%. So you would swipe across there and you could set that all the way up to 100. So if you knew you're getting regular backups, you could swipe it all the way back down there. So there's a sliding scale that you can use that. We then have operational modes. So just depending on how you've got your setup done. We've got self-powered, which is effectively whereby your solar will go into your Powerwall 3, nothing will be drawn in from the grid, and your Powerwall will just look to use the benefit of the solar generation. Or we've got time-based control, which essentially gives you a blended view of, okay, well, we want to make the most of solar generation, subject to your export rates, and we want to make the most of any cheap off-peak energy. This is where we've got our utility rate plan information as well that we can now select in here. So we're on Octopus Go, which is an EV overnight rate effectively, where we get 5 hours off peak. So you can see there in the schedule, if we just click edit, we're able to set our peak and off peak times. There is also adding other time periods as well. So we've got mid peak, super off peak. So if, for example, you've got say like a heat pump tariff where you've got super cheap rates, you've got some mid peak and peak rates, you can set this in here as well. Most of the UK time rate plans don't have seasonality, but if you are looking from somewhere else and you do have a seasonal utility rate plan, you can also set seasonality in there as well. What we've also got here is the off-peak pricing and peak pricing. The sell price, we haven't quite got smart export guarantee set up on this yet, but this is, once it's all set up, essentially where you put in sell price. So for example, 12 pence a unit, and how much you're buying it for, and essentially what your off-peak price would be. This essentially feeds the information to the actual Powerwall 3 on when it should charge and when it shouldn't. Now, a bit of a word to the wise here. If you're on Octopus Go Intelligent, something you should note is the Powerwall 3 cannot see the cheap charging slots. You would need either something like a home assistant or the net zero app in order to be able to get these benefits of those other cheap charging slots. I'm not going to go too much into detail about that today, but it's just a bit of a note. If you're looking for that in these settings, you probably won't be able to find it. We've got permission to export, so we're gaining an export credit there effectively, and we're enabling grid charging. This is effectively, if that is disabled, then effectively your Powerwall 3 won't look towards that cheap rate to be able to make those settings. We've then got Storm Watch, which effectively links in with the Met Office data. So this looks at yellow and red weather warnings and basically effectively makes a connection to the Met Office. And if you've got a yellow or red weather warning, your Powerwall 3 will automatically charge, assuming that there is an increased likelihood of an outage. So if you went off grid, you would effectively have the required amount of power in order to be able to go off grid. It will normally almost always send you a push notification as well with that enabled. We've got our utility rate plan, and this is just giving us that information, and we can change that information. We saw it in that other setting a second ago as well. You can manage access, so adding other users as well. And if you wanted support, so if you want to find out a little bit more in terms of the user manuals, you can click the little wrench there at the bottom for support, see browsing support, any tutorials, and an owner's manual there as well. And again, you can now see that system's changed. We can now see on the top infographic that the Powerwall's meeting the home demand at 2.3 kilowatt. Now, if you do go off grid, there'll be a little cross on the incoming grid supply to indicate a power outage. That's a nice deep dive video on all the things you need to know about the Powerwall 3 mobile phone app. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel where we'll do more in-depth information on the Powerwall 3, seeing you just bought one. All the best.